Call the meeting of the fiscal court to order. Apologize for my voice this morning. I'm kind of under the weather. Welcome, everybody. Got a full day today. We have been informed that the gentleman we were going to meet with at 1:30, is that right, 1:30? Yes. Had to cancel. So if it's all right with you guys, let's move that other meeting up till 1:30, and we'll try to reschedule with him. He had an emergency at Hoptown, so we'll try to reschedule maybe at the next meeting of the court that afternoon. Okay.
Good. Welcome.
I have Melissa here this morning. We did get correspondence from the Department of Emergency Management. Kentucky Emergency Management has reviewed your operations plan and 15 emergency support functions dated December 2012 that have been uploaded to the Kentucky Emergency Management SharePoint email. After review of these updates, I find that the submittal meets the requirements set forth in KRS 39B 030 and KRS 39B 060 and KRS 39C 050. I have informed your Kentucky Emergency Management Regional Response Manager that Kentucky Emergency Management Training and Exercise Branch and the Planning and Preparedness Branch of the update and concurrence review for program audit requirements. Now, we do have an executive order. Do you want to explain what we're doing here, Melissa? And I'll read the executive order after you kind of go through what we talked about. And I've been going through this plan, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I've read the whole thing because it's about that thick. But I have gone through points and went over with Melissa what we're dealing with. So, Melissa.
Basically, Judge, what that is, back some time ago, we addressed that we were being mandated to convert our emergency operation plan to the federal format. That's taking it from an annex format to the emergency support function format, which is the ESF that it mentioned. The conversion was completed, submitted to the state. They came back with some minor changes that I knew that they would. We made those, resubmitted, and they have given us our concurrence, meaning that they have confirmed it meets all the requirements that it needs to. Upon adoption of the executive order, what we will do is then start the process of refining the document. Those plans are always living documents. They constantly change. Once adoption is made, we will put that out to the response agencies and we will start tweaking that. The plan says that we will do what the old plan says we would do. It just had to meet a new format. It had to look different. So that's basically all we're doing.
All right. Any questions of Melissa? The executive order reads, whereas Kentucky Revised Statutes KRS 39B 010, 39B 030, KRS 39C 050, and applicable Kentucky administrative regulations require the development and maintenance of a local emergency operation plan which sets forth the local government organizational structure, policies, procedures, and guidelines for the management and consideration of all disaster and emergency response in Marshall County and its cities. And whereas KRS 39B 030, KRS 39B 060, KRS 39C 050, and applicable KARs and planning guidance issued by the Kentucky Division of Emergency Management require the local operation plan be officially approved and adopted by signed executive order of the county judge executive. And whereas the director of the Marshall County Emergency Management has submitted the Marshall County Emergency Operations Plan to the county judge executive for official approval and adoption in accordance with the aforementioned laws, administrative regulations, and planning guidance. Now therefore, I, Mike Miller, County Judge Executive, by the virtue of the powers and authorities vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and in accordance with provisions of KRS 39A to 39F, applicable Kentucky administrative regulations, and the Marshall County Emergency Management Ordinance, do hereby and direct the following. The Marshall County Emergency Operation Plan is hereby officially approved and adopted, effective the date of this executive order is shown. The conveyance of the official approval and adoption of the Marshall County Emergency Operations Plan through this executive order shall remain continuously in effect from the date of this executive order as shown herein, or until superseded by a subsequent executive order promulgated in accordance with KRS 39B030, KRS 39B060, and KRS 39C050, applicable Kentucky administrative regulations and/or planning guidance issued by the Kentucky Division of Emergency Management. A copy of the officially approved and adopted Marshall County Emergency Operations Plan, including this executive order, shall be placed on file for public inspection during the regular office hours in these offices, the Marshall County Emergency Management and the Marshall County Judge Executive's Office. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Josh.
Thanks, Judge. A couple of years ago, we established Opportunity Marshall, Inc. as a nonprofit in the Economic Development Office to take advantage of some CDBG grant opportunities should we come across a project that would participate in a low-interest loan program. At that time, I informed you all the reason we did that is because if we have a nonprofit that can manage the low-interest loan, when the payments come back to the nonprofit can retain those funds and use them for economic development purposes versus the money coming back to the fiscal court as a local government and having to report that as project income and basically sending it back to the federal government. We are in the process right now of working on a project. We're hoping that they'll participate. If so, then we would take advantage of these CDBG funds. Before we do that, though, I need to do some housekeeping issues, and I've got two board member spots that need to be filled. Rita Dotson's spot has expired, and John Draffin, who is deceased now, has expired. Ms. Dotson has expressed her interest to still be on the board, and Deanne Draffin Bogacek has expressed interest in being on the Opportunity Marshall Inc. board. So I just need to have you all, Judge, appoint those members for a 4-year term.
Deanne also serves on our Port Authority Board. She is the daughter of John and of course is continuing the family business there at Draffin Supply. I would recommend those two names to be on the board.
Make a motion, Judge.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Let's move into old business. You've each received the copies of the minutes of the January 3rd meeting of the fiscal court. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of the meeting?
I have none.
Motion approved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. At our last meeting, we talked about the memorandum of agreement between the Department of Fish and Wildlife and Marshall County. We had some concerns about that memorandum of understanding or agreement. Asked the county attorney to talk with them. Did you have an opportunity, Jeff?
Since our last meeting, I have followed up with an email to Mr. Rister, the one that forwarded us that, and I have not received a response to that as well.
All right. So I don't think any of us were comfortable with what they were asking us to commit to.
No, I'd suggest not signing it till we can get a response.
Yeah. Well, that's what we'll do.
Judge, we have been providing assistance anyway, haven't we?
Well,
In the past.
they've called and said, we got some trash issues, and our guys have gone down, cleaned it up, and
Well, why would we obligate ourselves to anything further?
well, that's what I'm saying. I just don't see unless they have are in a real bind or something. All they gotta do is call us. We try to assist them. Terry, particularly, the last time, I believe, Russell, it was the refuge guys, went down below the dam where they have a dumpster, and it was just a mess. And we cleaned it all up, cut the weeds, took weed eaters and did those kind of things and cleaned it up. But it's actually their responsibility, it's not ours.
But they're wanting us to assume.
They want us to assume all the responsibility for it. I don't, I don't see signing. The agreement just said we were gonna provide patrols and everything else. It appeared to me they wanted us to do everything. So I think unless we hear back from them, if we do, then we'll bring it before the court. But until such time, I'm not gonna go into any agreement with it. Subject to y'all's approval, of course.
Do you know if they said anything like this to the state park, especially down there, because it would be much easier for them to do that than it would be
Yeah,
for
down below the
anybody else.
dam, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd be
Ken.
willing to bet they didn't.
No, probably not. Probably not. All right. The constable in District 2, still considering that. I've talked with Commissioner Anderson, and we'll make a decision. I don't think we're under any time constraint at this point in time. I think the law says we do it in a timely fashion, but it doesn't really give a time. Yesterday, the fiscal court had a special extraordinary session of the court to review and interview people for the assistant dog warden position. We selected two people, Dennis Lovett and Mike Green, to take those positions. We'll need to contact them, have them come in, meet with Golden, and try to set up a schedule. Certainly appreciate Jimmy stepping in and doing this for several months, getting us out of a bind. And as Jim told me, and probably members of the court, he wasn't interested in doing it full time. He was just glad to help out in a pinch. But Jimmy, we do appreciate your efforts and your work. Any other old business? Do what? Am I missing something?
No, I was.
Need some coffee?
Yes, more.
I thought I was the only one that was swimming this morning.
Reading.
Okay. All right, let's move into new business. We have an assistance authority agreement with the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. This is a supplemental assistance agreement and a proposed resolution approving and authorizing the first supplemental assistance agreement relating to the increased funding for loan number B10-03 from the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority to the County of Marshall. The purpose of this supplemental assistance agreement is to amend Exhibit A of the assistance agreement originally dated January 1, 2011, to reflect the increased loan size. Bobby, do you want to address that?
Just follow up, Judge, with the bonding company for the additional $75,000 that you all have already approved.
All right, let me read the resolution, and then a lot of places to sign, but we'll do that later. This is a resolution of the County of Marshall, Kentucky, approving and authorizing a first supplemental assistance agreement between the County of Marshall, Kentucky, and the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. Whereas the fiscal court, the governing authority of Marshall County, Kentucky, has previously determined that it is in the public interest to finance improvements to the government agency's water system, the project. And whereas the governmental agency made an application to the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority for the purpose of providing monies to construct the project. And whereas in order to obtain such monies, the government agency entered into an assistance agreement dated as of January 1, 2011 with the authority. And whereas, since the date of the assistance agreement, the authority has agreed to provide additional monies for the project. And whereas in order to receive additional monies for the project, it is necessary for the governmental agency to enter into a first supplemental assistance agreement with the authority. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing authority of the County of Marshall, Section 1. The governing authority hereby approves and authorizes the first supplemental assistance agreement between the governmental agency and the authority substantially in the form on file with the governmental agency for the purpose of providing the necessary financing to the government agency for the project. Section 2, that the judge executive and the fiscal court clerk of the governmental agency be and hereby is authorized and directed and empowered to execute necessary documents, or agency B and hereby is authorized, directed, and empowered to execute necessary documents or agreements and to otherwise act on behalf of the government agency to effect such financing. This resolution shall take effect at the earliest time provided by law. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve the amendment.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Only we'll need to get all this other signed up. Our animal shelter report. Animals in the pen as of 11/30/2012 were 54. Animals brought in by wardens, 52. Animals brought in by citizens, animals brought in by wardens, 17. Brought in by citizens, 52, for a total of 69. 20 dogs, 10 cats, 31 puppies, and 8 kittens. Animals adopted were 83. Foster care, 7. Animals reclaimed, 12. Animals euthanized, 7. Animals in the pen as of 12/31, and in foster care, 28. Donations received and adoption fees total $2,338. For the calendar year for 2012, total animals taken into the shelter, 1,412. Animals brought in by the wardens, 467. Animals were brought in by citizens, 945. Dogs, 206. Cats, 118. 164 puppies. 146 kittens. Animals adopted were 1,145. 160 dogs, 71 cats, 171 puppies, and 114 kittens. Animals reclaimed were 95. Animals euthanized, 187. Donations for the year through adoptions and donations was $28,068.14. So you can see the amount of animals we continue to take in. I still, in looking at other counties, what they take in and what we take in, there's quite a difference.
Judge, could I just add something to that? On behalf of the committee and on behalf of the shelter staff, we just wanted to thank the court for allowing us to go forward with some changes. And the judge had mentioned some of the numbers, and just to kind of put that in perspective, from 2008, we've decreased our amount of euthanization at the shelter by 88%. But we've also increased our adoptions by 461%. And in doing so, we've increased our funds and revenue into the shelter by 886%. And that wouldn't have been possible if you wouldn't have let us go forward and have our committee and just look at ways that we could change and do things better. And we just wanted to thank everybody in the community for their support.
Let's go into the treasurer's report.
For December 31st, general fund had a book balance of $781,941.24. Road fund, $504,192.30. Jail fund, $200,134.83. Grant fund, $6,526.87. 911 fund, $144,018.84. Occupational tax administrator, $1,339,487.55, and the Veterans Van Fund, $2,124.47, for a book balance of all funds of $2,978 for $2,978,426.10.
How does this compare to this point in time in years past? I think I know, but
I'm sure we're down. I don't have that right in front of me right this time, but I'm sure it's down just because account balances have remained down.
okay. Let's move into quarterly encumbrance listings.
Motion to approve that, Judge.
Oh, I need
Motion to approve, subject to audit.
a motion to approve the treasurer's report subject to audit. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Go ahead.
My encumbrance report for the quarter ending December 31st, 2012, we had, general fund encumbrances of $28,315.76. Road fund, $41,875.46, and the 911 fund, $118.78, for a total of $70,310.
Any questions on the encumbrance report? Do I hear a motion to approve the encumbrance report?
Motion approved.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Go ahead.
Our quarterly report for, quarter ending December 31st, 2012, shows our ending cash balance for general fund is $781,941.24. 500, these are, I could reread these, but they're the exact same balances as the treasurer's report, if you'd like. This is the report that we submit to the state.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Judge.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. I'm trying to sign these as we go.
Payroll fund accounts receivable report for 2012, sheriff's office owes $90,862.68. Everyone else is current.
transfer request. Yeah. Have a motion to approve the accounts receivable report.
Motion approved, Judge.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And I have one transfer, and it is just to move from occupational tax administrator fund to the 911 fund, $31,250 for their budgeted subsidy.
Motion approved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Now, the 911. Is their financial situation improving any?
It seems to me that it's not improving, but it is looking as if it is maintaining. It may be, I've not analyzed it completely, but if it's going down, it's at a very slow rate. It's going slightly down. I do know that the 911 fund, they have been trying to build up their funds in order to buy a piece of equipment, that they have one piece of equipment that's very costly, that is very exceeded its life expectancy, and they want to be able to get that replaced pretty soon.
I don't see any movement in the General Assembly to improve our situation in this short session of the General Assembly. All they want to talk about is, well, we're gonna revamp the board and we're gonna do all that. That is absolutely of no benefit whatsoever to the counties and cities that operate 911. They know the program, they know the needs, they know that the problem exists with cell phones, and yet they make no move whatsoever to allow us as a unit of local government or as a legislative body to increase the cell phone fees commensurate with what landlines are. And as long as that continues to happen, we're gonna continue a downward slide, whether it be slight or whether it be quick, because people are just doing away with landlines and going strictly to cell phones. And till they make a move that will alleviate that situation. I was talking with several of the county judges at the Kentuckians for Better Transportation Conference this week, and we got on the subject of our 911s, and some of them go through their state police posts, some of them have their own, and some of them have interlocal agreements with their cities, but the complaint was the same. We're just not gaining any ground whatsoever. And with new technology coming out, I think what Luby's wanting to do is replace
It's a phone controller is what it actually is.
What?
It's the 911 line phone controller. It'll be able to do next generation stuff, which is
Yeah.
receiving text, pictures, videos, that type of stuff. And that, in the future, we're seeing is gonna be a mandate by the federal government that we change over to that, but again, like he says, the funding issues is gonna be the problem. Is it coming from the federal, or is the state gonna have to do it, or how? But that's the issue.
Well, I've got a sneaking suspicion they're gonna say, local government, you do it,
Yeah.
and you figure it out, so.
What's the holdup, Judge, of them amending what we're currently,
I
I
don't,
don't
Terry, it's
understand.
beyond me. I mean, I've talked to legislators from all over this state. They seem to understand. Yeah, we know it's a problem. We really do.
But
But
must
then
be
I talked to
addressed.
Joe Barras, and Joe, I said, Joe, you were in the legislature. And he's the director now of 911 statewide. And I like Joe, don't misunderstand me. I get along with Joe fine. It seems like, yeah, we understand the problem, but there's just nothing happening to relieve the burden on units of local government. And that's just one more layer that's putting on us. Now, we're subsidizing ours now by 125 grand a year,
Yes, sir.
125 grand a year. Now, how long will it be before that goes up to 150? Time, you know,
Well, we
will
were
tell.
led to believe that this would be amended by.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we were told all the legislature's gonna look at it, but
I mean, they understand that landlines are going away. I mean, I don't understand what their problem is.
I
can't
don't,
figure it out.
Terry, I don't either. I agree with you. I don't.
The solution is simple.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so difficult to understand why we're still struggling with this. Or they
Well-
are. We are because they are.
I thought Nixon was innocent, but that didn't help any. I don't know.
Even if they reverse it, what I mean by that is, take your landlines down to where your cell phone lines is now and raise your cell phone up to that, you're still gonna make gain. Because there's more
But-
cell phones operating out there than there are landlines.
Absolutely. I mean, all they have to do is say, and they don't have to take the hit. All they have to do, and I pointed this out to Barris, is let the counties decide what they want to do, or that PSAP, wherever it is, whether it be with the state police or whoever. And if they say, okay, we're going to raise our cell phone rate commensurate with the landline rate, we're in good shape. That takes care of our problem. And the legislature, oh, we don't want to raise taxes. Well, you're not raising anything. You're putting it back on us. Because we're the ones that are suffering on this thing.
Right.
To me, it's simple enough, Terry, like you said, but, I don't know. Okay. Just in the way of announcement, Powell Howard has resigned as my deputy judge executive. I've appointed Mel Chambers to assume that role until, July the 1st. Get us through this year, and we'll take a look at it at that time. Mel has agreed to do that. You've all had an opportunity to review the bills.
Make a motion to approve the bills, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to pay the bills. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other business come before the court?
Judge, the road department's got some property down there we'd like to put up for surplus. And it's a 96 Ford F-250. And I don't know if y'all have seen that old crane we've got down there. We'd like to put that up. A battery charger, truck toolboxes, and a cart for oxygen settling tanks.
Go over those again, Russell.
You sure?
Yeah. Just make sure what we're doing here.
And
Russell and I have talked about
A
this.
96 Ford F-250, that was our old service truck. Then that old crane that we've had down there that we don't ever use no more. Then an old battery charger. Then there was some toolboxes that come out of the service truck. Then that oxygen settling tank cart was in the truck.
Judge, I make a motion, allow the superintendent to declare surplus as he deems necessary and sell it.
All right, you heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. If there's no further business, we will meet back here at 1:30 in a work session to look at our, what are we looking at?
Administrative. code.
Administrative code.
For you to do your work.
And we'll move that up from 2:30 to 1:30 and meet back up here. Okay?
Very well.
No further business. I'd entertain a motion.
Anyway,
We were discussing what might be better for Bob. I'm sorry. Do you just want to come back?
yeah, it'll be fine. It's all set up for us to come back.
We didn't get a motion to pay the bills.
Okay.
We did.
10 after
We
10.
did?
We
Okay,
paid the
sorry.
bills, I thought.
Yep, we did.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion, there's a second. Motion second, all in favor, aye. Means adjourned.